is the Kashmir Martyrs Day. We are remembering those 22 Kashmiris who laid down their lives just doing their azan outside the Srinagar prison. As you remember, that in 1931, when the Dogra forces started shooting the Muazzin, and then the second one stood up and continued, and the third one, and then so that killing continues. This morning, 5 young Kashmiris in the cordon search in Baramulla and also Srinagar area were killed. Yesterday, there was cordon search operation in Baramulla area where a young man was killed, and on daily basis 345 young men have been killed this year, and civilians, and you've seen children who have been killed, but there are literally hundreds of our sisters, young sisters, who have been taken away from their homes for bad purposes, which the Indian Army, since last year, when the lockdown started 5th of August. And we've seen, actually, this is, you mentioned COVID-19 and what the world is doing. Kashmir is going through 2 lockdowns. One is after the terrible events of 5th of August, and then the COVID-19, and the Indian administration, the occupied forces, the fascist forces, actually used COVID-19 by imposing further curfews on the Kashmiris and their leadership, by imposing curfew over there. I want to pay tribute, not only pay tribute, but also pray for the over 100,000 Kashmiris who have been killed, martyred by the Indian security forces in the last 2 decades. In the 90s, 100,000 almost. I know it's easy to say. If you remember 9/11 and how people read out their individual names, and those individual lives matter, but we, even by mentioning just bold figure, we don't, sometimes we probably don't remember the individuals, whether it is Burhan Wani or Bhatt Saab or those who have led this fight, peaceful fight for the right of self-determination for the Kashmiri people. How the international community could help, Khalid Mahmood has very, very kindly mentioned that any government, any OIC government or any other country could take this matter up at the International Criminal Court. Look, we saw the Rohingya community doesn't have a country of its own. So none of the big OIC countries actually took their case up at the ICC, at the International Criminal Court, but Gambia did. One small African country, and the court summoned Aung San Suu Kyi to come and answer those allegations of murder, rape, and how 750,000 Rohingyan Muslims have been thrown out of Burma. Similarly, in Indian occupied Kashmir, we know the fascist regime, the RSS and BJP have been involved with not only killing of minorities that have been mentioned already by Khalid Mahmood and Kate, but also everyone knows, it's all documented, what happened in Delhi, what happens in other parts of India, the lynching that is going on, the killing of, on daily basis, some minority gets persecuted, some minority gets caught up either under this fake kind of claim that they were transporting cows or beef or some meat, which then they blame them for slaughtering cows. So and they've used it also in terms of demolishing mosques and burning down mosques and other places of worship. Christians have not been spared. Minorities have been abused. I honestly think that the international community really hasn't done anything. Very few countries have criticized India, very few, not even Muslim countries. And I'm saddened, and I said this again and again, I'm saddened that the OIC just issues a statement, wishy-washy statement, but more importantly, when the Kashmiris were being killed, our women were being raped, our young men, 14,000 were taken away before 5th of August last year to Indian prisons. We still don't know where they are. They've still not been returned. And the whole of the Kashmir Valley remains without internet. 2G is not good enough when people have been doing business, and the rest of the world is on 4G and probably working on 5G. So this kind of abuse must stop. But I think the pressure has to be on OIC and Muslim countries, because when the killing of the Kashmiris was going on, the Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, even Iran and Bahrain were actually awarding Mr. Modi with plaques and awards. That's got to stop. And if we're really going to behave like OIC bloc, then they need to support the Kashmir cause. And I'm glad that my colleagues are here who've been putting pressure on the Foreign Secretary, and I'm glad that they've spoken in the House of Commons in the debates. Imran Hussain has spoken passionately, and Khalid Mahmood, Kate, and others as well. And so I want to thank you for organizing this conference. You can count on us on the continuous support in the House of Commons, in the House of Lords. I'm sure my colleague Lord Qurban Hussain and others will tell you the amount of work that's been done. But we will continue doing this until Kashmir is freed and the right of self-determination is given in accordance with UN resolutions. Free, fair, and impartial plebiscite. Thank you, Amna.
Okay, my question is to the parliamentarians, that what is the mood within the House of Commons as well as House of Lords, especially on the issue of violations of the human rights within India, and second, how the people are looking, not I'm talking about keeping aside the official policies because they want an engagement with India, but generally, what is the people's conceptualization on this issue that India is in the grip of extremists? And when the country drifted in the grip of extremists, naturally, it has its own, you can say, repercussions. How within the UK society and as well as in the parliament, they are looking at it. And I think Lord Nazir has been following these things. I would be very grateful if he appraised on it.
I think in terms of the fascist government and RSS and those Hindutva actions against minorities is well documented. The Guardian and the independent newspapers, as well as other media outlets, have been reporting on the rise of extremism. And I'm glad that the Freedom of Religion Committee in the United States and also the European Parliament has issued a statement as well in relation to concerns. Can you hear me? Am I? Still
Yes.
muted or?
No, no, sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, basically, because everybody is aware of the extremism and the Hindutva movement that has been attacking minorities, in particular the Muslims, Dalits, Christians, and Sikhs, and others as well. And everyone knows. I mean, look, we've spoken about this before. There is a concern, and everybody knows when the Indian governments and various Indian political parties used to talk about the largest democracy, secular largest democracy. They know it's neither secular anymore or the kind of democracy that we believe democracy should be. There hasn't been a democracy in Kashmir, for instance. There are other states where they've imposed a leadership from Delhi. So there are concerns, and there have been debates. But sadly, because in the last 3 months, because of COVID-19, there haven't been real live debates. There have been questions, there have been concerns, but we've not seen the same type of debates and the fringe meetings that normally take place in Houses of Parliament. But everything is recorded and everyone knows what's going on. But I think our expectations shouldn't be too much from this conservative government because of Britain leaving European Union. We need business. We need to reach out to other countries. And like Khalid Mahmood and Imran Hussain have both said in relation to trade and business, then there's a mute in terms of human rights. And but I think there is another angle now, that because the RSS BJP government has taken on China in the north, and Nepal, the Nepalese government or parliament has unanimously passed resolution to approve their map, and also condemned Indian involvement or trying to overthrow the Prime Minister's legitimate government there. And Bangladesh is not happy because of CAA and other neighbors. So, I mean, everybody knows that this fascist government is a problem for the region, and that could also be a problem for the entire world too.
Lord Nazir Ahmed Saab, my question is how the international media is reacting to this. Like, what is their response?
I think the international media, if you've been following Twitter, then you will see international media in the recent past, whether it is New York Times, Washington Post, The Guardian, as I said, Al Jazeera has been very good, TRT, and also even the Russian newspapers have all reported in terms of the current situation with neighboring countries, the tension that this Hindutva government has created between neighbors. Of course, with Pakistan, they've got this paranoia about even pigeons being spies, and these toys that they keep pretending that they are, and they turn out to be made in India, by the way, that they are spy drones somehow. So everybody knows, and sometimes I think people do have a laugh about it, but it's a serious matter. These people have got control over nuclear weapons, they've got control over long-range missiles, they've got lots of money to spend on weapons, and they keep doing that, whether in terms of the Russian missiles, or whether it is the fighter jets from France or the US. They do that to gain their political support. So, as I said in the past, I think Pakistan needs to come out of Islamabad and really go and lobby in international capitals, as well as a campaign by the Kashmiris. That's why you have this base camp that should have been campaigning for the right of self-determination for the Kashmiris, which in my view really hasn't done that. And you really need to train those people and send them out.